I'd like to briefly talk about saddle tramps. What's a saddle tramp? Kind of a good topic matter. I'm not going to elaborate on it too much, except that a saddle tramp will refer to a foreigner or expat that comes to this country and basically just can't seem to settle down. They can't seem to find a woman that wants them by means of their personality and other factors. And they go from town to town or country to country. Then they come back again, start all over, and they have the same problems over and over again. See, the difference between a saddle tramp and a responsible man is that some expats are actually very responsible. They got a real girlfriend or a real wife that they take very seriously. And there's a certain responsibility in any relationship. I mean, real relationship. Now, if there are children involved in the family, you've got a further responsibility. So a lot of foreigners, such as myself, they can't always afford, not necessarily meaning financially, to just up and leave and just have a romantic or a well-needed trip with you and your girlfriend or wife. That's part of the deal. Now, if you're not into that, then you don't get into a serious relationship, especially if they have children, because you don't leave children alone, number one. Okay. Number two, you have to realize, very importantly, that planning on coming to the Philippines and meeting a Filipino out here, according to what your direction is, if you want to be a saddle tramp, I mean, you can make choice of that lifestyle. But if you're really here to meet a serious Filipina, I really don't think that you're going to be traveling as much. So if that's not your gig, then don't do it. Just keep on buying your women, which, you know, a lot of expats do. Let's face it, there's a lot of creeps out there that come to this country, unfortunately, and they're buying the women left and right. Like they're buying a pack of smokes, you know, and or they're buying a beer. And they're getting older, and there's going to come a time when, you know, the fun is over. They start to develop some really serious health problems. Then, and only then, they find a need to have a full-time Filipino around them, okay? Yeah. Then they're going to realize that, you know, building a good relationship and having a foundation with a good Filipino, how important that really is, especially when you're getting older. Let's face it, nobody in the States or anywhere else is going to take care of anybody's fat ass, that's for sure. They're not. So you come here, but you do have that option out here in the Philippines to meet a really good Filipina, settle down if that's your gig, have a good life. You can do that. But unfortunately, there's a lot of expats that come here to make a lot of excuses. Oh, I'm just out to have fun. What they're really saying is, I can't find a woman that really wants me. But, you know, if I buy her phones and things like that and take her to nice hotels and stuff, I think she might hang around a little bit. Yeah. That's kind of being what I call a saddle tramp, where you can't settle down because you really can't. There's no woman that actually takes a serious romantic interest in you. So basically, a lot of the saddle tramps, what they do, they'll just say, well, kind of cover up the embarrassment. They'll just basically say, I'm just out to have fun. I'm not looking to get serious with any Filipino out here. Well, a lot of that's untruthful. They just can't find one that's respectable, that would have that kind of interest in them. So this is nothing new information to my viewers on that. I thought it was well worth talking about again because I see this a lot, and I learned this from other YouTubers. I've seen people's shows where they're kind of bopping around here and they're bopping around there as a single man, and you have every right to do that. There actually are some expats that don't really prefer to be in a long-term relationship with a Filipino. They make it very clear that they're here just to have fun. And that's okay too. I don't have a problem with that if the woman doesn't have a problem with that. But I think a lot of times it's a lame excuse that they just can't find a woman that's really that interested in them, other than what they can provide out of their pocket, you know, or material things like cell phones and taking them to a nice hotel and a nice dinner. And unfortunately, it's kind of symbiotic relationship that goes on out here in the Philippines that's used and be used. And, you know, that's an acceptable thing if both parties agree to that. I don't have a problem with that at all. I have none. But it's also unfortunate that these saddle tramps, as I call them, the real reason, they kind of put on this facade that, you know, I'm killing it, a famous expression that we're hearing a lot of this year. I'm killing it. And their idea of killing it is, paying for a woman to be with them. And most of the time, you're not going to find these people getting a Filipina that's seriously interested. Keep the money flowing, they'll be there. That's not what you call being a real man when you got to pay for a woman. When you start getting older, you're going to realize more and more. And as your health, well, if your health is deteriorating, a lot of these dudes out here, they got some high blood pressure problems, they got diabetes problems. Sooner or later, they're going to need the loving care of a Filipina. They're not going to go back to the States. They're not going to do that. And whatever their Medicare, whatever doesn't cover, they have to pay out of their pocket. But they figure, if I get, involved with a Filipina, she's going to be taking care of me. But as you get older, if you don't start cementing a relationship with a Filipina, while you still can, you're still young enough to find somebody. Well, okay, age never made a difference out here. Pardon me. I'll correct that one. But finding a good Filipina that's going to stay with you really has to do with you. And if you feel that the only way you can impress your Filipina or to get her to hang out with you is to literally, not figuratively, pay her. Buy her a phone or whatever it might be. Good gig for a Filipina, right? But, as I said, that's a symbiotic relationship. If that's what you want, then that's perfectly okay. But you have to understand the age factor. You're getting older. She's still a lot younger than you. And sometimes, my friend, that blue pill that you're taking out there, sir, that may stop working too. She's still going to want to be with you. Now, I don't have any particular person in mind here. We're just generally speaking. And sometimes if the money runs out, so do they. So trying to secure a good relationship with a Filipina, if you're that interested in the Philippines, that's just a mindset. You got to make up your mind where you want to settle. If it is the Philippines or whatever country it might be, you may want to start building the foundation on a relationship now, because when the health problems start to come in, and sometimes they come in unexpectedly and rapidly. And sure, you could still have a Filipina to hang around you, and she'll take care of you when you're sick, but it's not because she gives a fuck about you, because you're paying her to do that. And there are people out here on YouTube that are going through these kind of relationships. It's pretty sad that, you want to relocate your whole life from the country you came from to go to a foreign country to start a new life. But then you realize that maybe it's because of a character flaw or something, that these women are just not interested. I mean, an asshole is an asshole, okay? It's an asshole, is an asshole, is an asshole. You can't get away from yourself sometimes if you fit that category. And it's going to have to be on a pay-by-cash only relationship, that's sure. She'll hang on your arm. She'll walk with you in the mall. She'll go to restaurants with you. She'll share a nice hotel with you. She'll gladly accept that phone from you. Why not? I don't blame her. Sucker born every minute. But saddle tramps, this is what they do. They're kind of like nomads. They can't settle in one place in the Philippines because they made so many enemies. And they want to keep moving all the time and moving all the time. And then when the farm animals run out, not available anymore, you can't find that right catch, when even the money is not attracting them anymore, that becomes a real big problem. A lot of people think that all Filipinos will go out with you just because you flash some money. I don't think that's true at all. The good ones are going to say, take that money and shove it up your ass. They'll say, I'm not a fucking street girl, and that's highly insulting for you to offer me money to hang around with you. Unless that's the agreement that you make between you and the Filipina. There's a lot of unhealthy foreigners out there. I recently just seen somebody's video that he's been kind of on and off, and he's always had a weight problem and high blood pressure, I think even diabetes. And I seen his face on a video, and I said, damn, did he have some kind of reaction to something? His face is just so bloated up. It's fat. Or maybe from a reaction to something. I don't know. I don't know which it is, really. But I looked at his face on a video, and just told me a lot of information that his lifespan isn't going to be really a long one. So if that's actually what this person is doing, and you just want to have as many women as possible, even if you have to pay for them, then I guess there's nobody that should have a problem with that. Now, this particular character that I have in mind, I think he's been living that way anyway. The saddle tramp that he chooses to be might be quite purposeful, actually. It's my belief that he has some serious health problems. I mean, serious health problems. So, before he kicks it off, he figures, I'm going to screw as many women as I can. And like that's going to solve his problems. It's certainly not. But wants to go out with a smile. Okay, you can go out with a smile. But I think it's better to go out with somebody that really gives a fuck about you, that really cares about you, is going to be on your side, not because you bought him a fucking cell phone or whatever, or gave him money or took him to a fancy hotel. I think true love makes all the difference in the world. If you're going to be sent out of this world, have somebody who really gives a fuck about you at your side. That's what it's all about. Well, to me anyway. Everybody has their own way of seeing things, but yeah, I think that's a topic in itself on saddle tramps. And that's why I entitled the show Saddle Tramps. And that's exactly what the label is. Most of these kind of guys will never settle down with a woman for various reasons. They just don't have the personality. They may have the money, but that just attracts the wrong Filipinos to begin with. But then they may not mind. But they feel whole when they have a Filipina on their arm. You know, it's like buying a Gucci bag that's really made in China. It's not really a Gucci bag. So these women basically are their Gucci bag, having somebody on their arm pretending that they actually have a relationship. That's pretty sad. In fact, that is sad. Now, not everybody is free to just up and leave and go on trips all the time. I hear this stuff all the time about me not being well-traveled and so forth. Well, you know what? Unlike some of these dudes, I have some responsibility I have to adhere to. And you can't always just get up and leave and take off. It's just not like that. It does take some planning. We are planning some trips. But, you see, I had a lot of business to take care of through how many years now. And it's usually business before pleasure. So when you got a lot of business to take care of, and you also got a couple of kids to take care of, you can't live the saddle tramp life. You can just pick up and go anywhere you want. Any city, any country, hop on an airplane and you just do that. It's not easy to do. So with that being said, I don't have to explain myself. If you have that kind of responsibility, you can't pick up and leave. You got a house you're responsible for. You have a woman you're responsible. I mean, a real woman. And you have children in the house you're responsible. You got pets in the house that you are in. You can't just leave them alone. That's why people become saddle tramps, because they don't really have any choice in the matter. Most of them know that they're total asswipes. And no woman is going to stick with them. There's no way. So the only way to get a woman is to basically pay for their company. I call them pay-fors. That's their life. Makes them look good with a woman on their arm, but it's all shallow. Smoke and mirrors, that's all it is. Nothing to be proud of with that. Unless you could find a really good quality woman, and when she's hanging on your arm, it's because she wants to, not because you're going to buy her a cell phone, you're going to take her to a 5-star hotel, treat her out for some elaborate dinner. We have a name for those kind of women. You figure it out. But if you have to resort to that, you're a saddle tramp. They will make all the excuses in the world. Oh, actually, I'm just out playing the field, man. I'm not looking to get into a solid relationship. I don't want to settle down with anyone. You know what, guys? That's a total cop-out. They know they're getting older. Thanks for listening.